We are ready to talk about instructions for Review and Preview 3.2.3. The first question that we have is question 118. The directions say to simplify the following expressions and show your work. Keep in mind that even though it says simplify, that really means it's just asking you to find the answer, to solve, and tell me what you get. Keep in mind that for some of these, you're welcome to refer back to your number line on your resource page. It may be helpful for some. Specifically, if you look at Part G has some fractions that we have to make sure we have common denominators for. So if we use giant ones to find our common denominators, we can, hey Ms. Jeffers! Once we have our common denominators, we can subtract our numerators, keep the denominator the same, and then look to see if we can simplify. For question 119, there are some number puzzles that you basically just have to come up with an answer for based on the clues that you are given. Just be sure that if it's asking you for a number, write the number. If it's asking you what should happen, what should I do, make sure that you give me exactly which direction, how far, so make sure you're giving the right details that it's asking you to provide. For question 120, we've got some number lines that have some missing numbers. We've seen ones like this before. It's your job to fill in those missing numbers so that things are numbered consistently all the way across. On question 121, we're talking about a triangular flower bed. So in part A, it asks you to show a sketch and some work. Basically, if you're sketching a triangular flower bed, you can show me a triangle, and then use the information from the question to label the side lengths. For the perimeter, if you're going to find all the way around, you can add those together, because in part B, if it's going to ask you about cost for this many yards, you need to know how many yards there are. So using your answer from part A, change that to yards, and then basically you would take that number times the cost per yard for the border. For question 122, part A asks you to explain in words how -4, 3 tells you where the point belongs. So what is it about that first coordinate, no, -4, that tells us where it goes? What is it about that 3, that second one, that tells us where it belongs? Keep in mind that the first coordinate is the x coordinate. It tells us how far to the left or to the right that we move. The second value is our y coordinate, which tells us how far up or how far down we move. And then that's also something to keep in mind for part B. You have to find where point B and point C are located and give me those locations. Same for, well, with part C, you've got some directions to follow first, I guess. Then tell me where he ends up and what quadrant that is in. Keep in mind, the way they're labeled in your textbook, those quadrants are labeled with Roman numerals.